Okay, so now we're going to talk about a way that God has called us to deal with conflict. One of the three ways that I'm going to talk about tonight is one is overlooking a situation. This is different than just the escape response, pretending like everything's okay, even though things are not. Overlooking a conflict is just dealing with how things are different and understanding it's not a big deal. Right, Evie? Like some things just happen and we recognize it's not bothering me, it's not bothering my um, relationship with that person, and so we're going to overlook certain things because we recognize that conflict sometimes just comes from God given diversity, sometimes it comes from misunderstandings, miscommunication, sometimes it does happen due to sinful desires and attitudes, but um, overlooking a situation is more than just letting somebody off easy because we're not lording it over people. We're not kind of bringing it on as ammunition for bringing up later. Overlooking is truly forgiving somebody for something. And it's an active choice and a strong choice and a practical choice. In Proverbs 19:11 it says, "A person's wisdom yields patience. It's to one's glory to look over an offense." So sometimes we need to extend grace to people, the same grace that we expect to receive from other people. And sometimes we honestly are just too sensitive in certain conflicts and we make things into a bigger deal than it has to be. And some people create more conflict where there really isn't much conflict. And so we need to examine our heart and maybe think through, is that something that we struggle with? But it's important. Sometimes we need to just overlook a situation, a miscommunication, and something that was a little bit tricky and maybe isn't really that much conflict, and we overlook it and we deal with it with forgiveness and we move on and we forgive that person, not making ourselves thinking, hey, we're better than them because they did this, but I'm going to pretend like it's fine. Because, again, that's more of the escape response. We're not pretending like things are okay, but we're forgiving them and realizing, that's not even that big of a deal. That's not really even, I don't want to make that into a conflict because I've done stuff like that before and it's okay. So that's one way of thinking through conflict is using the gospel to overlook situations, and we see that throughout the scriptures, and the book of Proverbs talks about it. So are there things that maybe you need to overlook in your friendships or conflicts that happen, and let the gospel, the power of forgiveness that Jesus brings to us, to overlook situations before we even make conflict out of something that really doesn't need to be made into a conflict?